turn off your mobile phones and switch to vibration mode. Thank you.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our next forum. Before our last keynote speech, let's welcome our third moderator, Professor Pei An Liao.
Good afternoon, Professor Zhang and our fellow colleagues and our friends. This is my great pleasure to welcome you to this section. I'm Professor Pei An Liao from English Talk Program in International Business at Chien University. And I will be serving as your moderator this afternoon. Today, we are great honor here to invite Professor Hung-Hao, Professor of Department of Agricultural Economics at National Taiwan University. He will be speaking to us on big data of agriculture in Taiwan, the view of an applied economist. Professor Zhang received his PhD in applied economics and management from Cornell University in 2006. After graduation, he joined Department of Agricultural Economics at National Taiwan University. His research interest focuses on evaluation of agricultural and public policy, farm household economics, food consumption, and economic analysis of competition law with special interest on digital economy. Between 2015 and 2018, he has served as a full-time commissioner of Taiwan Fair Trade Commission, 公平交易委员会, okay? In charge of international affairs and promoting economic analysis in the agency and attending OECD Chief Economist Workshop as a country representative. So let's welcome Professor Zhang and have a nice round of applause. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. This is my first time to this university, so I think, I even not studying, but I believe and I think I will have a good time here. Okay, because I see a lot of smiling faces from the audience. Okay, thank you very much for participating in this program and also my seminar. Okay. Okay, can I take my mask off? Because I only have 40 minutes, so I'm going to start right now. The title of the talk today is the Big Data of Agriculture in Taiwan. So the differences from this talk to compare to a lot of talk in big data is that I'm an economist, so my view on the big data will be more like from the view of application. Okay, how can we apply the big data in our research? That's the purpose of this talk. So you will not see a lot of technical stuff from the IT and teach you how to construct the big data. instead, you will learn how to apply the technique of the big data to the real world research topic. This is the objective of my talk today. So, what is the big technology? We call the digital technology. So we have a very clear definition from the OECD in 2014. So ICT actually including the internet and the mobile technology and the devices, as well as data analysis. Okay, so this is not only talk about the software, but also the data analysis. Okay, so as an economist, I think that's the place we can make a contribution. Okay, so what type of ICT we usually see? There's a lot of ICT. We have a platform, and sensor, and the Internet of Things. So the platform here is a hot topic right now because you can see a lot of platform economies in your life, like Uber and Foodpanda, Uber Eat. This kind of thing we call the platform economics model. Okay, so I don't have time to talk about the platform economics here, but if you are interested, you can find a lot of paper on my website. We have some work on that. And the big data is the core and the driving engine for the ICT, okay, which is I believe. Because all of this application cannot be realized without the data. Okay, so for me, I think the data is the most important thing when we want to talk about the ICT. Okay. And the ICT and the rural development, in recent years, we emphasize a lot about the ICT in development economics. Okay, so some believers say that the ICT can overcome the territory barrier of the rural household and increase their access to better information and knowledge. Okay, this is the whole key. People try to promote ICT to talk about the rural development. Okay, so when we talk about the educational inequality, actually that's related to economic inequality, also related to health and intergenerational inequality. Okay, so how to use ICT to promote or reduce the education inequality is a whole key, okay, to make a better life. 2 years ago, before the COVID-19 pandemic, I was invited to the OECD Rural Development Conference in Korea. So in that conference, we have more than 100 participants. Everybody talk about how to improve the rural life. So I was honored enough to share the experience in big data in agriculture. Okay, actually we have a lot of new technology development already in Taiwan. So in the conference, I show a lot of real cases in agriculture. So if you are interested, you can search the website and get all the recording from this conference. It's kind of interesting conference. Okay, so actually a couple of years ago, back to 2014, the government of Taiwan have actually implemented new digital technology skill. So we have three direction or category to promote ICT. The first one is open data. Open data means that the government trying to open some administrative record or profile from the government side released to the public use. And the big data is another thing. Okay, they try to construct the data. Okay, and the third one is outsourcing, cross-sourcing. What does that mean? They try to release the data for the public use. Okay, because try to borrow the brand from the general population to create more good ideas to promote this kind of stuff. Okay. So every time when we talk about the big data, we have a lot of debating on the definition. Okay, so the 4V is the basic definition of the big data. That's velocity, variety, and veracity. Okay, this is the basic 4V when we try to define the big data. But for me, I think another big feature of big data is we call the non-structured data sources. Okay, I will show you some example immediately for what I mean about non-structured data. And another feature about the big data is that's all population representative data. Okay. For some of you ever take a statistical class or econometrics, you probably know this is the data format you are familiar with. Okay, everything is organized well, put into this Excel spreadsheet. Okay, this is the data we know, and then this is the data we usually work on for our economic analysis. But right now, okay, in the world of big data, this is the data sources. Okay, I grabbed this case from our Airbnb website. Okay, I believe some of you have the experience in Airbnb. So if you want to visit some place and you want to save your money, you probably can consider to find a room, okay, or even a house to stay for a couple of days. So when you search the website, you can get all kinds of information like this, including the picture, and you will get the characteristic of the hotel, of the room you are interested, and also the price. Okay. So with the ICT technology, actually we can grab the information from the website like this, and then transfer this kind of data to the regular data we know. Okay. So another case, this is a Google Cheng. Okay, it's pretty popular in Taiwan because a lot of politicians try to see their value, so they use the Google Cheng a lot. This is an example. If I type COVID-19, they will tell you the number of clicks over time. Okay, so this is also the data available. Okay, because if you want to evaluate the attention of the COVID-19 by the residents in Taiwan, this is probably one of the reliable sources you can use. Okay. Oh, I believe for a lot of undergraduate students, you probably cannot live in a good life without this. This is the Facebook, social media. So right now, every time, every word you type in the social media, that's the data. Okay, that's the data. So some people can search for the keyword and try to transfer into the data. Okay, we are familiar with. Okay, so back to 20 years ago, no one can think about this possibility, but right now it's happening right now. One of my research papers, we are working on the Facebook keyword search right now. We try to combine this with the consumption data. Okay. Okay. So this is all what I call the non-structured data. Okay. So it's happening right now. So a lot of people just try to create the data from this kind of non-structured sources. And what is the big data of agriculture in Taiwan? Because I'm an agricultural economist, so I show you the example. I show you some of the example here. This is the entire big data structure by the Council of Agriculture. So they have 8 different categories, and each category contain a lot of useful information. Okay, so if you want to see the detail, you can go to the Open Data website, and then you can grab all kind of information you need. Okay, what is important is that it's free of charge. Okay, so you can try to get the data. So back to 10 years ago, when I have a research cooperation with Professor Liao, at that time data is everything. So you cannot do anything without the data. In these days, I will not say the same thing. I think the idea is everything because data is almost everywhere. Okay, so you need to have the idea to know what you want to do. Okay, so in total, they have more than 1,300 different items of the data set here. Okay, that including almost everything in agriculture. Okay, let's see some application. I really like this. I really like this example. Okay, this is an example from our EPA. Okay, this is the red spot means every case of the Western water complaining case. Okay, so if you see the intensive area, means that this area received a lot of Western water complaining. Okay, so you will know the distribution of the Western water complaining in Taiwan. Then you can get another map about the land use. Okay, so if you just combine these two data, that will give you immediately information, okay, about the correlation between these two. Okay, so with this overlapped map, we find that farmland with a severe Western water problem is in the Changhua area. Okay, Changhua area. So the next thing EPA do is just like zooming up. Okay, zooming up the area to see what exactly the problem happening. Okay, so they conclude that these two counties have a lot of manufacturing factory. Okay, that's the source for the complaining water. Okay, so I'm not saying this is the only approach to do that. I'm trying to say in the world of the big data, visualization is the fundamental and the essential step. Okay, try to explore the problem. Okay, and for the rest of several minutes, I'm going to introduce you one of my recent paper. We use a big data skill and do a very interesting topic about Taiwan. Okay, the paper is talk about the competition in the convenience store industry and healthcare utilization. Okay, so we try to look at the impact of inter-brand competition on medical expenditure, and we find that more competitive area leads to a lower medical expense. Okay, especially for the elderly and the rural area. Okay, this is the conclusion. Let me show the contents of the paper step by step. Okay, the differences in this paper, we try to distinguish two concepts. The first one is food accessibility. Another one is market competition. Okay, we try to distinguish these two concepts and try to look at the effect of these two on healthcare utilization. Okay, and we consider different type of healthcare services. Okay, we use outpatient service, inpatient, and prescription drug. Okay, and we also do the additional analysis for the rural and the urban area. We try to see if the effect will be different, and we also search for the mechanism for our effect. Okay, so this is the first paper. Look at the inter-brand competition. Okay, of a convenience store on healthcare utilization. So this is a convenience store. Okay, for some of you, if you are just get into Taiwan, so you can know that Taiwan have a very good convenience store. Okay, actually we have a second highest density in the whole world. Okay, the leading brand is the 7-Eleven, Ferry Mark, OK Mark, and Hi-Fi, and these two, the first two brands, almost account for the 70% of the market share. What is the differences between the food accessibility and the competition? Let me give you an example here. If you have two different areas, and this area have two different convenience store, and this another area have two, but they carry a different brand. In area one, they have the convenience store with the same brand, and the area two, they have a convenience store with a different brand. Okay, so in this case, there's no inter-brand competition. Okay, but this case, they have an inter-brand competition. Okay, but in terms of we call the accessibility, they are the same because each area have a two store. Okay, but these two store was run by a different brand. Okay, so this case, we have the inter-brand competition. This is the focus of my research in these papers. Okay, so actually one of the differences for the convenience store in Taiwan and in US and other European countries, that the convenience store here, actually they try to promote a lot of healthy diet. Okay, so you probably can see a lot of people, they try to buy the stuff from the convenience store if they try to control their weight. Okay, especially like a salad and everything. And they have a lot of private brand stuff that will give you the nutrition label, so you can see how much nutrients you have in the consumption. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, they show you that how many calories you will consume for the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner if you just follow this kind of food menu. Okay, so actually convenience store doing a lot of healthy diet stuff in Taiwan. Okay, so they also have some private label food product. Okay, they have their own product. Why? Because this have more profit and also have a stronger competition implications, because they can control the price and the other service quality for the private label food product. Okay, so you can see some picture of the convenience store. That's kind of interesting. A couple of years ago, convenience stores start to provide this kind of dining facility. So in some sense, people say they compete with the low-quality hotel. So you can stay in the convenience store to save money. Okay. Oh, this is the source, like the substitution. Okay, for the food consumption. So if you don't want to buy the food in the convenience store, where else you want to buy your dinner or lunch or breakfast or whatever? Okay, so this is the example of a 7 meal box. You can see this is a nutrition label. So you can see a lot of nutrition contents here. So you will know if you want to control for the weight, this is a good idea to go. Instead, you can go to the traditional market with breakfast. Okay, and then you can go to the lunch shop. Okay, or even the food vendor on the street. Okay, so compared to this kind of food sources, the food provided by convenience store seems like more healthy. But trust me, these are all more delicious compared to this one. Okay. Okay, so what is the data here? We spend, believe it or not, we spend like over 2 years to get the data ready. Okay, the first data we use is the healthcare profile data from our National Health Insurance Program. Okay, and we also get the convenience store data. Okay, that's including each convenience store in each township and the sales value. Okay, and then we also collect the data for the healthcare resources in the township, like how many hospital, how many clinic, okay, how many doctors in each township. So we combine these 3 data sets. Okay. So what is the healthcare profile? That's the proud of Taiwan, because we have a universal health insurance program. Okay, so I believe even the foreigner student, you can apply for our health insurance card. Okay, so every time you use the card, that will be a record. Okay, so actually this profile including all the doctor visit and all the money you spent through the universal health insurance program. So that's the large data set, almost including everything. Okay, so I use 5% of the survey. Okay, from this data set. Okay, and this data set including the outpatient service, hospital admission, and prescription drug, and also combine document some basic information like the gender, age, and the type of employment. Okay, so this is a very, very rich data set. Okay, I just picked up the data between the 2002 and the 2012. So that's including over 9 million observation in this huge data set. Okay, and I just specify some variable to do that. Okay, and in terms of convenience of data, because I have a privilege access the data, because at that time I'm working for the Taiwan Fair Trade Commission. Okay, so we can access all the data of the convenience store. Okay, so let me. I think I don't have enough time here, but let me show you something here. This is we call the regional disparity in the competition. Okay, because in each township, we can calculate the interbrand competition index. Okay, so from this graph, the dark of the color means that there's less competition. Okay, so actually it's pretty matched to our geographic location. This is a central mountain area. We barely have a convenience store, but in Taipei area, okay, we have a very intense competition here, and the Kaohsiung area here. Okay, so we just calculate the convenience store competition index in each township here. Okay, okay. Then we do some econometrics exercise. Okay, we just follow the traditional two-part model to do the healthcare utilization. So the first stage, we look at the healthcare usage or not. In the second stage, we use the label usage, okay, number of doctor visit and how much money you spend for each visit, okay. So I don't want to bother you here. This is all the typical models, okay. So what is the main finding here? We find that higher level of interbrand competition have a greater store density, will reduce the use and the cost of outpatient medical services. So in other words, we find that convenience store is good for your health. Okay, so when I first present these results in the international conference, people think I'm crazy, especially my friend, and for non-Taiwanese friend. Because you know, if you go to the like the U.S., the convenience store always near the gas station. They always sell hot dog and popcorn, that kind of thing. So that's why I get a lesson. So I show you a lot of pictures, try to convince you that the convenience store actually sells healthy product in Taiwan compared to other traditional market. Okay, so actually this result is interesting. And I'm the first one to find this kind of different result compared to the research in the U.S. and the Western country. Okay, so actually we find that the driving factor here is like the substitution of a food consumption away from home. Okay, so if the competition is more intense, the price of the food sold in the convenience store will be lower. That will attract more people to do food away from home consumption in the convenience store. Okay, so when they do more consumption in the convenience store, actually they purchase more healthy food. Okay, that's the strong implication behind this result. Okay, so our universal health insurance program actually liked this result a lot. And the convenience store also like this result a lot. 7-Eleven even give me a 1-week coupon, okay, after I present this stuff in Taiwan. Okay. So the final part, I try to make some conclusion on my talk today. That back to the big data. Okay, this is all what I thought from my research experience. Okay, so big data actually is good because the big data is large. Large means that that's more populational representative. Okay, so most of the time in the past 20 years ago, we rely on the random survey data. Okay, I believe when students do the research, they most of the time do their own survey. Okay, 100 observation will be huge enough. Okay, but right now we have a big data. Okay, so big data is good. And big data always linked to the administrative profile. What do I mean by that? For example, like health claim data. That's data document all the information of the resident in terms of the healthcare use. Okay, so that's the administrative data actually is a huge population of data. So that, my second conclusion is like, just like I said in the beginning, back to 28 years ago, who have the data, who have the authority and the power to do more research? But in these days, data is almost everywhere. So who can do the best research is the one who have the best idea. Okay. So in these days, idea matter. Okay. And the crowdsourcing is the possible solution that require teamwork. Okay, because government try to promote the crowdsourcing is try to borrow the brand from the resident. Okay, so try to create more ideas. Okay, and my third conclusion is visualization. It's getting more and more important. Okay, sometimes you spend the time to talk about the research with a lot of data. Okay, that's okay, but if you can show the geographic visualization map, that will be everything. Okay, people can catch the idea immediately in this kind of visualization graph. Okay, and World Bank World Bank have a lot of smarter research. Okay, so they are trying to do the things. Because the World Bank used to spend a lot of money to do the random survey in a lot of countries. So right now the World Bank try to borrow the idea of ICT to combine with this kind of survey. For example, they don't ask you how big of your land. Okay, because they can use ICT, the sensor, to get all the production information from your land. Okay, so this is the way they try to strengthen their random survey. Okay, and my last conclusion is non-structured data is getting more and more important. Okay, and you can find more research topics that's more close to your daily life using this kind of non-structured data. Okay, there's a lot of good research try to get some information from our social media. Okay, I personally think that this is very interesting. And that will be the future for one of the research. Okay. So I only have 30 minutes, so I briefly share with you my idea about the big data from the view of a prime economist. And this is some of my information. So if you are interested in my research, you are welcome to visit my website. Okay, my website will have more information about my research. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hung-Hao Cheng, for the sharing. It's very interesting.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Zhang, for addressing this timely, important, and very interesting topic, especially for students, either master students or undergraduate students. I think after this talk, you have some idea how to collect, how to download your data, no matter for your thesis or for your group project. Okay, and I think now the floor is open for discussion, and we welcome any questions, any comments for Professor Zhang. Anyone? Oh, yeah.
Hi, thank you. It's a great presentation. I just have one question. Because you use the convenience store as the inter-brand competition. Have you ever thought to use, for example, supermarkets, to compare and contrast? Maybe you will get a different result when you use convenience store and supermarket. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question though, because so right now my research did not contain all kind of food facility. That's the limitation of the research. Okay, because I just pick up the convenience store. But I think it's okay to skip the supermarkets here in particular research, because I know some supermarket will provide the ready-to-eat food, okay, but not that much compared to the convenience store, okay, because sometimes when we talk about the Carrefour or other markets in Taiwan, they just more connected to the one-stop shopping area. So it's not like a typical food facility. Yeah. The problem is that, okay, let me tell you the fact. I cannot access the data other than convenience. Because I try to access the population of data. Okay, so the convenience store is under the supervised for fair trade commission. Okay, but the supermarket is not. Okay, so yeah, people ask me that kind of question all the time, but I just always pretend I didn't hear it. No, that's a good question. That's a good question. Okay.
Any other questions? Tiffany? Yeah, you want to defend your convenience store in Germany?
Yeah, hi. It was really interesting indeed. I have one question regarding the data. How did you get the NHI data? Because I would assume something like this to be highly confidential. So I'm a little bit surprised that you can just access such a huge amount. I think you said 9 million or something like this. Yeah, how can you access that? Is that not a problem?
Hey, can I pretend I did not hear you right now?
No, do that. That's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, you're right. This kind of administrative data is always confidential. Okay, so you have to apply for the research grant. Okay, with the institute, and you come up with the way of cooperation. Okay, that's the way you can access the data. Okay, in this particular case, because we try to show something good for our industry. So that's the way we convince the institutes to release the data, okay, for our use. But when we get the data, everything's still confidential. Okay, they just have a random sequence number for everybody, so we don't know exactly the user. Yeah, so I think it's good though. Otherwise, I will know the healthcare record of my parents. That's not good. Yeah. But the administrative data is the big data. They're powerful. Everybody like it. But the truth is, not everyone can access it. That's the problem.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Yeah. I think due to the time constraint, I'm afraid that I need to close this section. So let me give back the microphone to the beautiful host.
Thank you again, Dr. Hung-Hao, and let's give him a big applause.